Good day, everyone. I am Lizelle Padilman, and I will be discussing Module 2, Foundations of Curriculum in behalf of my group mates. So let's now proceed to what is curriculum. The term curriculum refers to the lessons and academic content taught in a school or in a specific course or program. In dictionaries, curriculum is often defined as the courses offered by a school, but it is rarely used in such a general sense in school. Depending on how broadly educators define or employ the term, curriculum typically refers to the knowledge and skills students are expected to learn, which includes the learning objectives they are expected to meet, the units and lessons the teachers teach, the assignments and projects given to the students, the books, materials, videos, presentations, and reading used in a course, and the test assessment and the other method used to evaluate student learning. Curriculum is the central guide for all educators as to what is essential for teaching and learning, so that every student has access to rigorous academic experience. The structure, organization, and considerations in a curriculum are created in order to enhance student learning and facilitate instruction. Curriculum must include the necessary goals, methods, and materials, assessments to effectively support instruction and learning. An individual teacher's curriculum, for example, would be the specific learning standards, lessons, assignments, and materials used to organize and teach a particular course. In many cases, teachers develop their own curricula, often refining and improving them over years. Although it is also common for teachers to adopt lessons and syllabi created by our teachers, use curriculum templates and guides to structure their lessons and courses, or purchase prepackaged curricula from individuals and companies. Thus, teacher can use the curriculum as a guide to creating their own lessons and then give them to college for review and share the use. Classroom teachers should feel comfortable with what they are teaching and peer feedback can strengthen their skill and identify places where they may need support. So, there are all factors that influence curriculum development. Several factors affect all curriculum development in meeting the needs of 21st century learners in both organized and academic settings and cooperation learning centers. Factors affecting curriculum development include government rules, which in turn brings other factors into the process. In some cases, school purchase comprehensive multi-grade curriculum packages, often in a particular subject area such as mathematics, that teachers are required to follow. Curriculum may also encompass a school academic requirements for graduation, such as the students have to take and pass, and the number of credits students must complete, and other requirements. Valid curriculum development requires awareness of the diversity of the target community socially, financially, and psychologically. This includes the political, second, the social, third, the economic, fourth, technological, we have the environmental, and the last, we have the child psychology. Now let's move on to the first factors, which is the political factor. Politics affect curriculum development in numerous ways. How politics influences curriculum design and development starts with funding. Both public and private educational institutions rely on funding for hiring personnel, building and maintaining facilities and equipment. All aspects of curriculum depend on local and national political standards. For example, politics affects curriculum development from defining goals, interpreting curricular materials, to approving examination systems. From your experience as a student and teacher, you may have noticed how politics influence education. This is why education is regarded as a political activity. National ideology and philosophy have tremendous influence on the education system because, first, politics determine and define the goals, content, learning experiences, and evaluation strategies in education. Second, curricular materials, rather, and their interpretation are usually heavily influenced by political consideration. Third, Political considerations may play a part in the hiring of personnel. Fourth, funding of education is greatly influenced by politics. And the last one, entry into educational institutions and the examination systems are heavily influenced by politics. Second, we have the social factor. Society has its own expectations about the aims and objectives that should be considered when designing the curriculum. It also has a perception of what the product of the school system should look like. It is therefore necessary for curriculum designers to take into account these societal considerations. For example, subjects which has gender education and political economy have proved difficult to include in the curriculum because of the resistance from religious groups. Social diversity influences religion, culture, and social groupings affects curriculum development because this characteristic influence the types of topics and methods of teaching information. We have the third factor, which is the economic factor. Economics influences curriculum development. Curriculum developed for in-house training in corporations focuses on educating employees for promotions that bring better returns in profits. Nations financing education expect an economic return from educated students contributing to the country's economy with a global competition rather abilities in technical fields. For example, nations financing education expect an economic return from educated students contributing to the country's economy with global competition abilities in technical fields. Curriculum costs money and economically that will influence the whole thing. Some books cost more than others, but all new textbooks are very expensive. Then you have to pay the teachers who go over those books and come up with the lesson plans, tests, answer keys, and etc. It takes a lot of time and planning to get a whole year's worth of lessons for each subject they teach. It does not just come to them all set up. The resources that teachers need are textbooks, learning tools like computers and associated software. Even the design of the school building are all geared to the needs of the factory model, and teaching itself can become more and more like factory work. Next, we have the fourth factor, which is the technological. Technology-driven curriculum development in the norm of 21st century. The computer technology of the 21st century influenced curriculum development at every level of learning. Learning centers and classrooms increasingly provide computers as requisite interaction for studies among students. Technological multimedia use influence educational goals and learning experience among students. For example, undergraduate and graduate degrees in computer technology increase in popularity. Diversity. Curriculum development affects from the diversity opens learning opportunities, social diversity including religion, culture, and social groupings affect curriculum development because these characteristics influence the types of topics and methods of teaching information. Developing relevant curriculum takes into account society's expectations, accommodating group traditions, and promoting quality. As the world shifts towards a global knowledge economy, education is the gateway through which this is set to be achieved. The quality of higher education is assessed through the backdrop of technology integration for enhanced performance and achievement. A suitable and sustainable technology should be used to electrically reach out a large number of students, the general public, with educational material, so as to address the issues of access to education with equity and quality. Technology has made search, storing, retrieval, transmission, gathering, dissemination, and reception of knowledge easier, cheaper, and faster. Technology is expected to completely change the way the curriculum is developed and delivered, hence enhancing the quality of higher education. The paper will provide the approaches to curriculum development through electronic curriculum or what we call e-curriculum. which can be applied to enhance the quality and accessibility of education at affordable cost. Second, the major obstacles to optional utilization of information, technology, and measures to overcome them. Thirdly, how multimedia system can be used to enhance delivery, the e-curriculum. Okay, now let's move on to the fifth factor, which is the environment factor. Environment issues affect curriculum development. Bold awareness and action toward reversing and ending pollution continues affecting curriculum development. Typically elementary and healthy environmental practices. For example, higher education in the science offer environmentally focused degree, environmental degree, biotechnology, and so on. Six, we have the child psychology. Many students with a master's of PhD degree in developmental psychology work in educational settings as school psychologists, which makes sense when considering the emphasis placed on the formative years. However, there are several developmental psychology concentrations available on which students can focus. First, we have the developmental studies for educators. Two, we have the aging. Three, infancy, childhood or adolescence. Four, we have the lifespan development rather. And we have the five biological basis of development. For example, the developmental psychology curriculum examines the changes in personality, cognitive ability, and behavior throughout the lifespan. Therefore, in addition to preparing themselves for a rewarding career, students enrolled in developmental psychology curricula will also learn and understand more about themselves as they study scientific conclusions made by experts in the field. Child psychology as a discipline advanced principles of teaching and learning that influence teacher-student behavior within the context of curriculum. This is because psychology is the unifying element in the learning process. The quality of this interaction determines the amount and type of the learning. That's all for the Module 2, which is the foundations of curriculum. I hope you learned something. Goodbye and God bless.